95.3 The Bear, Bama's best country with Brad Paisley's Old Alabama. Good afternoon. It's Monk in studio with me right now. Of course, we've got some pending weather, some bad stuff all around us hitting through Mississippi right now. We've got Alex Puckett, our severe weather expert. Alex, how are you, man?
I'm doing all right. I'm kind of busy right now.
Kind of busy. What's going on? What are we looking at so far?
Well, we're watching basically some storms get organized right now in East Mississippi. Several tornado warnings have been posted over there. Some stronger storms capable of producing tornadoes moving east of Philadelphia now, Philadelphia, Mississippi, as well as one now moving towards Collinsville, Mississippi. Another storm to the north and west of West Point has been showing rotation as well. So storms are starting to get active there, and then we expect those to potentially move into West Alabama later on this afternoon through the early evening hours.
So should we just go ahead and say that within the next half hour, maybe an hour, we're going to be put under a tornado watch? Is that possible?
I think it's likely we'll be put under a tornado watch before too long. The Storm Prediction Center was just letting us know a few minutes ago that they're watching this area for a tornado watch. They think it's about an 80% chance they'll put us under a tornado watch. Right now, the tornado watch is in effect. Go to the Alabama state line, from Mississippi to the Alabama state line. Those go till about 7 o'clock this evening. So we would expect a watch to come through before too long, I think.
Okay, so the storms that have been going through Mississippi, you've been keeping an eye on them. I mean, what is the severity of those storms? I mean,
well, they've been rotating, and in fact, we do. This just came across the wire a few minutes ago. Reports of tornado damage south of Newton, Mississippi, in Newton County. Some trees and power lines down in that area. So these storms can produce some damage throughout the afternoon and then the evening hours, and then we'll deal with a line of severe thunderstorms overnight. So this is a long duration event for us.
Okay, so we're just getting started on it, but Alex Puckett, our severe weather expert, in-house with us this afternoon. Of course, we'll lean back on James Spann if we have to, and I will be here too with my limited knowledge of what's going on with the weather, but I'll do my best to kind of keep everyone informed. And of course, Alex, thank you so much for sitting in with us.
Thanks for having me.
Learn more about everything on our website, 953thebear.com.
Welcome back inside the game in Tuscaloosa on Tide 99.1 and Tide991.com, the home of Alabama sports. We talk majority of football, but there is one thing that overrides football in Tuscaloosa. We're going to go back to those calls in just a couple of minutes. We're going to spend a couple of minutes here with our meteorologist here at Townsquare Media, just giving us an update, because with the impact that we have a lot of internet listeners throughout the state, throughout outside of the area, and Alabama connects so many different people, but when you mention the word tornado, it always gets our attention, because we've almost got this in our mind, and you could still drive throughout Tuscaloosa and you can see the effects of what a tornado damage really looks like. So we're going to make sure that we stay weather aware, and right now to help us do that is Alex Puckett. He is from Townsquare Media here inside our building, and I went upstairs, grabbed him, said, hey, come on downstairs and give us an update. Alex, great to have you inside the game.
Thanks for having me.
Let's talk about what's happening back in Mississippi right now, because we do have some tornado warnings that are going on and ongoing right now in the Mississippi area.
Yeah, several tornado warnings in effect right now in East Mississippi, and we'll continue to watch those as they move closer and closer to West Alabama. Do have some new information coming in. This was from just south of Newton, Mississippi. Had a confirmed report of some tornado damage, some trees and power lines down just south of the city of Newton. So obviously these storms can produce tornadoes and cause some damage. And one of the things we tell people is if you are placed under a tornado warning, the things you need to do, you need to go to the lowest floor of your home, away from doors and windows. Put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. You want to be like in an interior bathroom or closet. You don't want to be in a mobile home. You don't want to be in a car. Another thing we like to tell people is if you have one, if you have a bicycle helmet, motorcycle helmet, any sort of helmet, put it on your kids if they have helmets, and that can help protect from head injuries.
We take it for granted. We live in the South. We're raised in this. We, growing up, we go through this as children, and then we pass that on. But I was talking to you during the break. I said, you think about the University of Alabama, and it's a very diverse population. You have a lot of kids that are from outside of the state. When they hear a tornado warning, that doesn't really mean a lot to them, because they may be from another country, they may be from another state. They don't have to deal with this. So it's little tips, and you think, well, that's crazy. I've heard that all my life. It's a good reminder for those of us who have lived in the state, but it's also brand new information for those who maybe arrived 3 weeks ago for their first spring semester on campus of the University of Alabama.
Right, and we do want to stress this, and in fact we do have some new information to give in just a second, but there is a difference between a tornado watch and a tornado warning. A tornado watch means to basically just keep an eye out. Things are starting to deteriorate. We could see some thunderstorms later on that could produce tornadoes. It's a more general look at things. A tornado warning means a tornado is either occurring or imminent. So that's a situation where you have to take immediate action right then and there. Speaking of tornado watches, we do have a brand new tornado watch in effect until 10 p.m. this evening for a good chunk of Alabama. I'm just going to go through these counties really quickly. Bibb, Colbert, DeKalb, Greene, Jefferson, Lawrence, Marengo, Morgan, Shelby, Walker, Blount, Coleman, Fayette, Hale, Lamar, Limestone, Marion, Perry, Sumter, Winston, Chilton, Dallas, Franklin, Jackson, Lauderdale, Madison, Marshall, Pickens, and Tuscaloosa. That is a tornado watch in effect for those areas, and that covers our entire listening area, and that's going to go until 10 p.m. this evening.
All right, so what is the expectations? I know that things can develop, and you've always got to stay away to communicate and get those alerts. But what would be the range of time that we really need to be dialed into this coverage?
Well, we're going to watch this throughout the evening hours. Looking at how things are developing right now, it's going to be a little bit later than that 3 p.m. time frame we talked about yesterday. More like 5 or 6 p.m. I think we could start to see the potential for severe weather, but that prime time for severe weather is going to be from about 8 or 9 p.m. this evening to about 1 a.m. Wednesday morning. So this is going to be an overnight threat. So best advice is to have 2 ways to receive warnings. Number 1 is, hey, have a regular radio with batteries in it. If you want to listen to the radio, you can keep it tuned right here to Tide 99.1. We'll go live for any tornado warnings in the listening area, but also say have a good backup. Maybe, most people want to go to sleep. Have a weather radio, okay? Have a weather radio that's programmed for your county, and you can look up your local weather radio county code online and program it. Usually places that sell them will show you how to program it. And that'll only go off if your county's placed under a warning. And that's a good thing to have, as most people, again, going to be asleep while this thing comes through.
Alex, thanks so much, man. We appreciate it. You can connect with Alex. It's PUCKETTWX on the Twitter account, Tide991.com, and then keep it right here on the FM dial for all of your coverage. Alex, thanks so much for your time.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. We'll probably get updates throughout the afternoon as we make sure that we
In the Townsquare Tuscaloosa Weather Center, my name's Monk, and we have confirmed now a tornado watch in effect for the listening area until 10 o'clock tonight. And in studio with us right now, our severe weather expert, Alex Puckett. Alex, what's it looking like?
Yeah, well, we're breaking in live for severe weather coverage right now. We actually have tornado warnings on the state line. We don't have a tornado warning in effect yet, but we're watching this storm that's about to enter Pickens County within the next 20 minutes or so. And because of the nature of this storm, we're going to go ahead and go on air. This storm has caused pretty significant damage for a pretty long track across southeastern Mississippi. Reports of damage in Scooba, Mississippi right now. Also some reports on the same storm as far south as Collinsville, Mississippi. This storm now is just north of Scooba, moving towards Paulette, Mississippi, and this is going to eventually impact potentially portions of extreme northern Sumter County and southern Pickens County. So right now, if you're listening to me, you don't have to go through your tornado safety plan just yet, but if you're listening to me in Cochran, in Memphis, in Panola, or Geiger, start thinking about what you're going to do if you're placed under a tornado warning. And again, I know sometimes people move here to the state. They're not used to this kind of weather, so we'll go over what you want to do here. If you're placed under a tornado warning, you want to go to the lowest floor of your home or business away from doors and windows. You want to put as many walls between yourself and the outside as possible. You want to evacuate mobile homes and cars. They are not safe. So if you're in a mobile home right now, in Pickens County or northern Sumter County, if you're in a car right now, especially if you're driving, let me pull up these roads here. If you're driving along State Highway 32 or State Highway 17 right now, mainly between Geiger and Aliceville, you want to start thinking about where you can pull off and maybe, hey, find a Mickey D's or some sort of business that will let you inside, and that's going to be a safer shelter than that car. The last thing you want to do if you're in a car is seek shelter in an overpass. And again, I want to stress, we do not have a tornado warning in effect yet, but what we're watching is a confirmed tornado on the ground. We had a trained storm spotter report this thing down on the ground and had live video of it as it moved through Scooba, Mississippi. This thing's now just north of Scooba, Mississippi. It's going to be straddling the Kemper, Noxubee County line on the very eastern side of those counties. So if you know where that's at, you realize that this is going to be coming pretty close to potentially the northwestern corner of Sumter County, but especially southern Pickens County. And again, let's look at some of these communities here. We're talking about Memphis, Aliceville, McMullen, and Cochran potentially. If you're listening to me in those areas, again, no tornado warning yet, but we could see one here in the next few minutes. And because of the nature of this storm, it has been very significant over the past few minutes, causing significant damage. We're gonna stay with this, and looking at what the Weather Service in Birmingham is talking about now. They're going to be responsible for issuing tornado warnings for this storm once it crosses the state line into Alabama. And they're watching this storm very, very closely. Again, this is a storm that has a history of producing damage. And again, right now, things that you should be thinking about. If you're in a mobile home right now in southern Pickens County, start thinking about what's close to me, maybe a neighbor, maybe a local business that you can go to that's a substantial, sturdy structure and not a mobile home. Those are not safe during tornadoes. They get flipped very easily, just like cars. Same thing, if you're driving right now in southern Pickens County and you're listening to me right now, start thinking about where you can pull off the road and find a local business. Like I said, a McDonald's or a Walmart or something that can potentially serve as a better shelter than your car. One thing you don't want to do is seek shelter under an overpass. And again, I do want to point out, I know a lot of people are listening to us in Sumter and Pickens County. For Sumter County, we've mentioned your name a couple times. This is probably going to be primarily a Pickens County problem as it continues to move to the north and east. This will be well north of I-2059, over towards some areas we're going to be concerned about. Dancy, Cochran, Aliceville, McMullen. Those are going to be some concerning areas. Don't want anybody traveling right now on State Highway 17. Don't want anybody traveling right now. Certainly, if you're in Mississippi right now, we don't want anybody traveling on Mississippi Highway 14. And hey, we do now have a tornado warning, so let's go ahead and talk about this. This is why we went on the air. Tornado warning now in effect. This is going to include extreme northwestern Sumter County, including the city of Panola. And this is also going to include much of Pickens County. So let's go through the cities that are included in this. Panola, Cochran, Memphis, McMullen, Aliceville, Carrollton, Pickensville, and Memphis. You need to seek shelter immediately. This storm has a history of producing damage. The tornadic part of this storm is just south of Paulette in Noxubee County, Mississippi, and that thing is moving towards southern Pickens County and northwestern Sumter County. You're under this warning right now. But this is going to be primarily a Pickens County issue. But course of least regret, if you're listening to me in Panola right now, you need to be in a safe place. And nobody right now needs to be traveling on State Highway 17 between Geiger and Aliceville. Nobody needs to be traveling on State Highway 32 right now between Macon, Mississippi, and Aliceville. And in fact, I would expand that further. Nobody really needs to be traveling on State Highway 32 all the way through the county. So listen, if you're listening to me right now, in especially southwestern and central Pickens County, this is a very dangerous situation. Again, a confirmed tornado is on the ground right now in southern Noxubee County, moving into Pickens County, and it'll be crossing the state line within the next maybe 5 to 10 minutes. We have multiple storm spotters out today, and they have reported significant damage with this cell for a long time. It's been producing damage all the way back in Newton, Mississippi, and produced damage north of Meridian. So this is going to be a fairly significant situation. again, let's pull up some specifics here. I want to give a little more information.
And I'm looking too, Alex. Fox 6 WBRC now reporting that at about 4:28 it should be in Paulette, by 4:30 Cooksville, by 4:39 in Dinsmore.
Yeah, that makes a good bit of sense. It's going to be on the state line here. It's really on the state line now. And again, this tornado warning is going to go until 5:30 this evening. So this is going to be for an hour. This is a fairly large warning. Let me say this too, because I know a lot of people are listening to us. Tornado sirens are probably going off all over the place. I want to say right now, if you're in Macedonia, Reform, or Gordo, you are not under this warning. Okay, now you may be under a warning a little bit later, but right now you are not. If you're in Geiger, Emel, Gainesville, Livingston, York, Demopolis, Bolagie, you are not under a tornado warning right now. This is for the extreme northwestern corner of Sumter County and for a good portion of Pickens County, but it does not include Gordo or Reform. Now, it does include Aliceville, Carrollton, and Pickensville, as well as Memphis. And this rotation is right near the state line, near Cooksville, Mississippi, right there on that state line. This will be crossing State Highway 17, right about where it intersects State Highway 32. I believe that's Mississippi Highway 32. Let me see if I can find that here. Looking at the map, I believe it's Mississippi State Highway 32, where that intersects Alabama Highway 17. That's where this thing is going to cross, and then it'll continue to follow State Highway 17, potentially towards Aliceville. So if you're listening to me right now in Aliceville or McMullen, you need to get into your safe place. Carrollton, you need to be getting in your safe place right now too. This is, again, a fairly dangerous situation. And we've been looking for damage reports. We have seen some across Mississippi. I haven't seen any in the past 10 or 15 minutes. It doesn't mean it's not on the ground. This isn't the most highly populated part of the country. Last report we saw of a tornado was near Scooba, and that was about 10 or 15 minutes ago. This thing's now moving towards Cooksville and will be impacting mainly southern Pickens County and central Pickens County in the next few minutes. Again, if you're just joining us right now, we are live in wall-to-wall severe weather coverage for a tornado warning for northwestern Sumter and Pickens County. That'll go until 5:30 this evening. Doppler radar indicating very strong rotation near Cooksville, Mississippi. That'll cross over across the state line into extreme northern Sumter County and into southern Pickens County here within the matter of moments. And again, we're looking at this. We do have that indication of sort of that hook echo that we typically see. That's where the rain wraps around the rotation. We have a really strong velocity couplet in place, and that's a very strong indication that we still have the potential for a tornado here, and we're sticking with this. And again, we also have multiple reports over the storm's life cycle of damage and tornadoes that have touched down on the ground. And this storm has a very strong rotational signature on Cooksville, Mississippi, and that's going to cross over into Pickens County